How's it going, guys? This is Jacob with H.I.T with another video. Today's topic is going to be on a comment I received. The comment was on the last full-length training video we did, which was chest and back. And the comment was from a guy named Douglas. Of course, there was more to the name than that. I just wrote down Douglas so it'd be easier to remember and it would be more applicable to the video. But first of all, I want to say thank you for the comment, Douglas. We had a good dialogue back and forth in the comment section about a few different things that we'll discuss here in a minute. But I've had comments in the past from people about technique and form and why am I doing certain things, and I appreciate all those comments, and especially the one that I got from Douglas, because it engaged my mind, I guess you could say, and made me think about a few things. And while some of the things that he said I might not incorporate, or I might incorporate, some things we did agree on, some things were actually in the book that the training that we're doing is pulled from. Whatever the case may be, nobody's going to agree on all topics all the time, which is perfectly fine, but it's important to have that discussion and that dialogue just to get a different viewpoint on something. Now, the main comment was over my grip on incline bench press. So for the chest portion of the exercise, we did a superset of dumbbell flies, 6 to 10 reps to failure, followed immediately by a set of 1 to 3 reps to failure on incline bench press. And his initial comment was, why was I using such a close grip versus a wider grip, and also why was I using the rack instead of a Smith machine, which me and him talked about it in the comments, but I told him that I would make a video just to maybe kind of clear the air up a little bit and give my perspective and my viewpoint, and maybe it'll help some other people understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. So as far as the grip goes, in the book High Intensity Training the Mike Mentzer Way, in the Ideal Principled Workout section, for chest and back, which I did everything exactly as he said in the chest and back. For the rep ranges, he recommends the 6 to 10 reps to failure on the dumbbell flies, followed immediately by a set of 1 to 3 reps to failure on the incline bench press. And also with the grip, he recommends slightly closer than shoulder width grip, which I was actually doing it a little bit wider than that, probably more like shoulder gripped, which I've had a comment in the past about it before as well, in addition to Douglas's comment. So this isn't the first time I've had the comment, but it made me go back to the book and look to make sure that I was putting out the right information according to the book, which is what I'm basing the training off of. And yeah, Mike recommends a slightly closer than shoulder width grip, and also as far as the elbow placement, to be out from the bicep, or out from the torso and back towards the ears, as that puts your pectorals in their most stretched position. So that's what I'm working off of from that angle. So that was over the grip. In the Smith machine, I agree that it would be safer and for me to use the Smith machine for the incline bench press. I agree with him on that, and I explained to him in the comments that when I'm home, I have access to a Smith machine because I'm in the gym. However, my job, I'm gone for 28 days at a time on a boat, so I don't have access to a Smith machine. I just have free weights there. I have a rack, or a half rack, which allows me to do incline bench press, but it's not with a Smith machine, it's with free weights. So when I was on the boat, I did those, I did those incline bench press sets with the free weights. So, and then whenever I come home, I'm going to do it that way too, so that way I don't have to try to calculate the weight on the Smith machine of what I could do or what I couldn't do. When I go from my pectoral flies to my incline bench press, I'll already have it wrote down for incline bench press for the free weights from coming home from the boat, and I can go ahead and work off of that at the house too. Now, like I said, I believe he's absolutely right that it would be safer for me to use a Smith machine, for one, and then there's another reason I'm not using the Smith machine, which is that I don't have a workout partner. So if I did fail right there, at my chest, and I couldn't move the weight up anymore, then I wouldn't even be able to get the weight up to the latch so I can latch it. Now you could argue that I could just wait a few seconds and gain enough strength to push it up just that few inches up to that latch point, which is a valid point, but for the sake of not having to try and calculate what I can do on the Smith machine versus free weights when I transition from the boat to home, I'll just do it on free weights. So we've got that. Another comment, he was asking why I was doing the 1 to 3 rep range on the incline bench press, which I just went over because that's what Mike recommends in the book. He recommends Douglas recommended in the comments 8 to 15 rep range and work out hard. And I asked him what hard meant, and to him, and he said to failure, which is exactly the same thing that I'm doing with the 1 to 3. It's just fewer reps. And so our definition of hard and intense, which is the definition or the word that I choose to use, because that's the whole purpose of the trainings, is maximum intensity. I think we're both on the same page with that, but just for the people watching that are wondering what do you mean by intense, well, there are 7 principles that Mike talks about in the book. There's identity, intensity, duration, frequency, adaptation, specificity, and progression. Identity being the first, intensity being the second principle. And the way he defines intensity is an individual's a percentage of momentary ability that an individual is capable of exerting. So if you're in that 1 to 3 rep range, and you have already pre-exhausted with the flies, and you move into the incline bench press and you do the 1 to 3 rep range, and you're doing it with maximum intensity, as the way the theory goes is that should be what you are looking for. Now you could say, well, why don't you just do 1 to 3 reps with every exercise that you do and exert maximum intensity, and you could get the same growth? Well, to be honest, I don't really have an answer. I would have to do some more reading, but the way that I understand it is that is actually a form of a way you can work out using the high intensity training principles, which would be the rest pause training. So you would actually do a full range rep with as much weight as you can possibly do under strict control, and then lower it, just like we always do. And then when you'll rest 10 to 12 seconds, and Mike recommends finding out what your what your rest period could be, 7, 10, 15 seconds, just you don't want to rest too long in between that rep and the next one, and you don't want to rest too little because you want your cardiovascular system to be in check before you go to do that other rep. But so you would basically exert the maximum amount of force you can in one rep, let it down under control, and then rest 7 to 10 seconds, and then do another rep, and do this 3 to 4 times. I can't remember exactly how many times he recommends in the book, but that is a form of high intensity training, which we will, I'm sure without a doubt, we'll get into as we keep progressing with these workouts, and I keep making these videos, but I don't want to get off topic too much here. So that's why, so I'm not saying that you couldn't go from the 8 to 15 rep range and not make progress. That's what I've said in the past, is I'm not the guy to sit here and tell you, this, what you're doing is wrong or what you're doing is bad. This high intensity training is it's like an exploration or an experimentation for myself, and I want people to see what's going on because I truly believe in it, and that's why I'm doing it. Maybe somebody else doesn't believe in it, or they say that his training principles are debunked, and there's been a lot of data come out since he's passed. He's been dead for like over 20 years, I believe. But so without a doubt, I'm sure there are some things where even Mike himself, if he was I don't want to speak for how he would do if he was alive, but I can only imagine the way that he was when he was living, very analytical and looking over data, and with his training clients and making adjustments here and there. I can only imagine that he would have advanced, and he would have been a great contribution to exercise science. So I'm sure without a doubt he would have made changes, and he would have looked at data and analyzed it, and maybe changed a few things up himself. I'm not saying that he wouldn't do that, but as for me, a novice who's just getting into this, I'm going to go strictly off of what he's talking about in this book, High Intensity Training the Mike Mentzer Way. I believe if I don't, and I try to get into the rest of it right now, that's just going to muddy the waters, because this is a standard, or this is a as it's put, ideal principled workout for these workouts that I'm doing, and all the principles prior to that in the book, where it talks about identity, intensity, duration, frequency, so on and so forth. Those are things I need to work off of right now, and once I get good at them, or get a good understanding of them, maybe then I can try to go forward with some other some other people's way of doing things, or outlooks on things. I'm not rigid in really anything, but for the sake of not muddying the waters of trying to figure out what to do and when to do it, this is what I'm doing, because it makes the most sense to me whenever I read the book. As I've mentioned in previous videos, that when he talks about your body has a limited recovery ability and that people overtrain, things like that, it just made sense to me. I can't explain it to you. It's kind of like when you learn how to do something and it just clicks for you. That's what it was like for me in that moment. And of course, I'm subject to being wrong on things, but I truly believe this is going to yield results, and I believe it already has. We're on week 7 right now, and if you go back to my first video and my first physique check, you'll see that obviously I've made improvements and enhancement of muscular definition. Now, you could say that's just because you've lost body fat, which that's perfectly fine, but the way that the way that I lost the body fat is through the book, which is like every day or on days that you're not anaerobically training, which is to say with weights, whenever you're doing your aerobic training with jogging or cycling, instead of going in all-out fashion, just jog 3 miles, 1.5 to 3 miles at a conversational pace. Don't get out of breath, just at a relaxed pace. And then also, when you're cycling, do 6 to 10 miles at a conversational pace. Don't get out of breath. Once I learned that, and I realized that was an effective way to burn calories, along with eating in a calorie deficit, that really opened my eyes up, because I'd never seen it explained in such a way before. Which I'm not saying that it hasn't been explained and it hasn't been simplified in that manner, but that's what this book gave me, and it's worked to my benefit for losing weight and also working out. I think that once I start eating in a calorie surplus, I believe that that's whenever I'll start to gain muscle, and that remains to be seen, because we're still in the calorie deficit phase, and we probably got maybe, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks left of that, maybe even longer. But that's, as I've mentioned in previous videos, a short-term goal is to lose body fat and enhance muscular definition, which is a broad stroke, a broad brush to paint with, but that's the brush that I choose to use. So again, I don't get too far into the weeds and trying to do too many things at once. Just focus on one thing, stick with it. Moving on to the next comment. He says negatives are fatiguing and dangerous without a workout partner. So when I did the incline bench press, I did my 1 rep with 155 pounds, and then I racked the weight, and then I did negatives. I did 3 or 4 negatives, I think, just unracking the weight and then letting it down slow, under control, and then letting it fall down on the safeties, and then re-racking it again, about 3 or 4 reps like that. Says they're fatiguing and dangerous without a workout partner is what Douglas says, and I completely agree. It is very fatiguing, and it's dangerous without a workout partner. I completely agree. I don't have any pushback on that whatsoever. Now the negative part of it, I went back to the book and I read up a little bit, and so he talks about so you've got 3 different parts of your movement whenever you're lifting. So you've got your positive, your static, and your negative. Your positive was when you're lifting the weight up. Your static is in the fully contracted position, and then your negative is when you're letting the weight down. So you at least want to go to positive failure on every workout except for squats. I think is the only one that I found where you don't want to go to failure because it's super dangerous. But as far as the rest of them, you want to go to at least positive failure. But you can also, which it would be better if I had a workout partner, but you can also do your positive. Once you go to positive failure, you can't lift the weight up anymore with the incline bench press, let's say. Have your partner lift the weight all the way to the top for you, and then just lower it down under strict control. And then once you get to the bottom, you won't be able to do another rep because you've already went to positive failure. Have him lift the weight up again, do 3 or 4 reps like that, or until you can't go anymore, and then you've exhausted the negative part of the of your movement. So you exhausted your positive and your negative. You went to failure on both, which is an effective way of working out, according to Mike. So I'll just read a little bit from the book here. So we are weakest in positive strength and strongest in negative strength. So that's to say, when you're lifting the weight up, if you're doing like a curl and you're lifting it up to your chest, that's your positive. That's your weakest part of your lift. That's when you're at your weakest. And then in your fully contracted position, you're stronger than when you're lifting the weight. And then when you're lowering the weight, that's when you're in your strongest part of your movement. You're stronger lowering weight than you are lifting weight. So we are weakest in positive strength and strongest in negative strength. Obviously, we can't really say we've trained to failure until we've also exhausted our ability to lower the weight, which is what I was just talking about, which I don't do with every exercise. I wish that I could, if I had a workout partner, I could experiment with this a lot more, with forced reps and negatives and so on and so forth, but this is what we're working with for now. Over time, maybe I'll get one and we'll see what happens. But so only by continuing to lower a weight after completing 6 positive reps and 2 forced reps, which will exhaust your positive and static strength levels, can you reach a point of true and absolute momentary muscular failure. So what he's saying there is that when he's talking about the 6 to 8 reps, that's just a general outline. For like if you did curls or you did close grip pull downs, he recommends 6 to 10 reps to failure on those. So if you get that 6 to 8 reps and you exhaust your or you go to failure on your positive and your static, which is whenever you got the weight in a fully contracted position, he's saying that once you exhaust those two, then you can move on to exhausting the negative portion. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And it would be a lot safer if I had a workout partner. So like I said, I don't have any pushback on that or the Smith machine. And these things that I'm saying, Douglas, I hope you're watching. I can't remember if you subscribed or not, so I don't know if you'll get the notification on this video, but I'll make sure to put it in the comments that we've been having our dialogue with it. I made a new video, but if you are watching this, just keep in mind that these are things that I'm reading off of from the book, and these are not to like try to back you in a corner or say that what you're saying is wrong. These are just things that are coming out of the book that I'm going to work on and that I'm going to try to progress with. And but I do appreciate the dialogue and the discussion, because that's what I'm looking for. Very important to me, so that it forces me to at least go to the book if maybe I missed something in the book or I misinterpreted something. It forces me to go back into the book and check it, or it forces me to check my technique, or gives me a different perspective on something. And you've done all those things today, so I greatly appreciate that, and I hope that you subscribe if you haven't already, and we can track our progress through this, and you can look to see if I've made progress, and I think that I will, but time will tell. So another thing that he mentions is do lengthened partials, which is something else that Mike actually recommends. So it would be like doing curls, and then you go to, let's say, positive failure. You can't lift the weight up anymore in strict form. It would be like, instead of using strict form when you do your partials, maybe rock back a little bit or something, to help you get that weight up. Maybe not all the way, but maybe to a midpoint, and then, lower it like that, do a few reps like that. Something that Mike recommends. I haven't done too much reading on it, but so we're in agreement there. And so that's all I've wrote down here for as far as the comments, but as I've said, I really appreciate the comment and discussion back and forth, and maybe this clears the air up a little bit, and I hope that you continue to watch. So as far as what we've got coming up in the next video, our next workout will be legs and abs, which will be, what's today, the 6th. It'll be the 7th, so tomorrow we'll do legs and abs. It's going to be a little different from the previous workouts. I'm going to do a voiceover, and the only way I won't do a voiceover is if the music's not playing in the gym. If the music isn't playing in the gym, then I will do the audio while I'm recording the video. But on the last video we did, full-length video with chest and back, the music was playing, so I went ahead and I did the audio while I did the video anyway, and just took a chance to see if I would get copyrighted, and I did. I didn't receive a strike, and YouTube sent me an email telling me how I can prevent it from being copyrighted, or maybe to monetize it in the future, which I'm not eligible for monetization yet, so right now that's not really a factor, but I kind of thought that might happen, so I wasn't too surprised whenever I seen that it was copyrighted. So going forward, and the reason I thought that it wouldn't be copyrighted is because I was hoping that the mic that I bought would be would help with cutting down on the background noise, because it was a noise canceling mic. Now, one of two things: either I was wrong to assume that, or number two, maybe I didn't have the noise canceling feature on. One of the two. But so with that being said, it didn't drown out the background music like I thought it was going to, so I got copyrighted. So what we're gonna do is, whenever we do the video for legs and abs, we won't do a we won't do the audio while we're doing the video. We'll just do a voiceover, so that way I don't get copyrighted, and it'll make the workout more fluent for me. It'll take longer, or it won't take as long, which is good for a couple of reasons. Number one, it'll allow you to see in real time what the workout actually is, without having to stop and discuss things, so you can see just truly how short the workouts are compared to going in there and throwing weight around for 2 or 3 hours. You get to see how short the workouts actually are and how labor intensive they are. And also I can get in and out of there quicker without the possibility of people coming into the gym. And I go at a time where typically there's not people in there, so that helps out a lot. Which the reason I love that people go to the gym, because that means that the gym can keep in business, and I can continue going to the gym. Just however, when I'm filming, I don't want to get anybody in the shot. I don't want to hold up anybody from using equipment, things like that. I don't want to burden anybody, basically. So the other night I went at a time where it was later than what I usually go, but we had some storms, so I stayed at the house to make sure that the storms were all right before I left. So I ended up going just a little later, and so I'm kind of getting a time frame of when people are there and when they're not. And this last time I went, there was quite a few more people in there than what was the prior to workouts at home. So I kind of got a window for the most part, I think. That's where we're at now. And I thank you guys for watching, Dion, I'm sure you're watching. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate the comments. Just about every video that I upload, not every one, but just about. I see a comment from Dion, and I appreciate that. Hope all is well with you. Hope all is well with everybody. And as we've mentioned before, if these videos don't do anything else for you, I hope they at least motivate you to get in the gym, start working out, maybe eating a little healthier, not eating as much, because you'll feel better. So I reckon that'll do it for this one, and catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.